Hey yo Islanders, welcome back to another episode where today I'll be showing all of you how to make a Selenium web downloader. So if you're not yet subscribed, please do consider becoming part of the Islander community. It is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm William McKean and you're watching Islander Robotics. So sit back, relax, with your favorite snack, and let's get started, shall we? I hope you all enjoyed that little bit of an intro. Honestly, getting all the moving parts for today's video was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done software developing wise ever in my whole coding career. So really, honestly, I hope you all enjoy and I hope you all do hit that like button. I will really appreciate it for today's video. With all that being said, I just want to put out real quick, today is not a full tutorial on Selenium in no shape or form, as well as none of the code in today's video is going to be a full tutorial on that. It's just really, I want to show all of you my project logs for the specific project, the stock market analysis tool, as well as today's video in no shape or form is going to be financial help or financial advice. I am a college student. I'm probably the last person you should ever talk to about money. But with all that being said, what we're going to start off with is inside of the method that we were working on in last video, which is getting the data. And the very first thing you're going to notice is a list over here on line 12. And that's going to be the choice list. The choice list, we'll get really into what is the main purpose of it in a couple of seconds, but you're going to notice it populated with the NASDAQ, NYSE, and the Amex. All right, those are the three markets that we're going to be focusing on. Well, I'm going to be having populated inside of the software, and so I really just want to keep track of that for the software perspective, and really honestly more on why I have these in a couple of seconds. But we're just going to continue on to line 13, where we're going to just print saying hello user, please choose one of them, and then we're going to have a while loop, and we're going to say user equals input, and we're going to say please enter choice at index 0 to view that market, please enter choice at index 1 to view that market. New line, please enter choice at index 2 to view that market. So the user has to actually physically implement those. And then make sure that they're actually implementing the names of the specific stock markets that we want the software to fixate on, or really the data that this software will have. We're just going to say if user.upper in choices. That's a cool thing about Python, is you can actually write a simple like if statement, and by writing this, if there's as long as the user enters NASDAQ, NYSE, or Amex, this will be true. If not, then it's going to be false. So therefore, instead of doing a huge for loop to individually go through each cell of this list, you can just have it, Python will look at the list as a whole, essentially. And then if that's false, we're going to just say, else, please enter one of the following. And then this is what we're actually going to be looking. This is where the Selenium is going to be accessed. This is where we're going to be automating the data, is at the getting the data module. All right, so stock equals getting the data, and we're going to say pass in the user.upper as the chosen market. And then afterwards, after that line on line 24, we're going to say stock.download. This is when all that data is going to get downloaded. The chosen market data is going to get downloaded onto our system. And then we're going to say self.data of key term stock equals stock.symbols. All right, so this is just going to give us the symbols. I mean, remember, if you remember in last video, the only thing we were fixated on for that CSV file was just the symbols associated with the NASDAQ market. All right, and in today's video, we're actually going to be looking at symbols from the NASDAQ market, NYSE, and the Amex. That's why we have these choices up above. But once we have those symbols downloaded and it's implemented into our software, we're going to also append stock to the key self.key. And then we're going to delete the associated data. How we're all going to do that, I'll show all of you in the getting the data.py module. And the very first thing we're going to look at the modules that we'll be working with in today's video, which is import pandas PD from Selenium, import WebDriver, and then we're going to import the time module as well as the request module and the OS module. After all those are defined, we're going to go now to the initializer for this class. And the very first thing you're going to notice on the first line is self.chosenMarket equals chosen market, and this chosen market is actually the input argument. And if you remember correctly, in the Islander stocks, we just said chosen market equals user.upper, so that's where this input argument is getting used. And then afterwards, we're going to create a brand new dictionary, self.data. It's going to be an empty dictionary, and you're going to notice each key term of this dictionary is going to be associated with a market. For instance, the very first one on line 13 is the NYSE is equal to an empty list. NASDAQ, empty list as well. Amex, empty list as well. And then we get down to these 3 lines. For each one of those key terms of that dictionary, we're going to be appending a link associated for those specific markets. All right, so at index 0 of each one of these lists is going to be a link, well, more specifically a download link. And I found a really cool thing inside of Google where you come over to here. Well, I have it up real quick. We're going to go to file, and we're going to go over to publish to the web, and you can publish this to the web, and you specify how you want someone to view it, and then you can copy and paste that link and put it into your software. So I specified a CSV file, so the links all associated here are actually, as soon as those links are entered into a browser, it's going to automatically download those files onto my system. So that's what these are going to be used for. Well, that's what we're going to be using these for, is combining these links with Selenium. And instead of accessing those CSV file, well, the specific CSV file you want to use inside of the stock analyzer, we're actually going to access it through our downloads folder. And that's what these file locations are being used for. So self.data of NASDAQ, NYSE, all these lines are file locations of those specific markets CSV files. And then afterwards, the self.driver path, well, this is what this is equal to, is the file location of our Selenium Chrome driver. All right, so where you get the Selenium Chrome driver, or the Google Chrome driver, is you're actually going to go to this site right here. But more specifically, before you actually can download anything on here, you have to go to this little tabs over here, go to help, and about Google Chrome, it's going to tell you your version number. So for my instance, it's 91.04, well, 04472. So I'm going to go back over to the downloads tab, and I'm going to click 91.0.4472. I'm going to click it. I already have it downloaded, but you're going to pick your specific operating system, and then you're going to download it. Keep track of where that was downloaded to your system, all right? Because it's going to play a huge factor, as well as I want to point out too that there is more than one driver. I mean, if you're using Firefox, you have to use the Firefox driver. If you're using Internet Explorer, you have to use the Internet Explorer driver. So just keep that in mind. Whatever web browser you want to use, you have to use that specific Chrome driver for, well, that specific driver for. This is going to play a huge factor in the next method, which is going to start with this download method right here on line 24. All right, and the very first thing you're going to notice is this count variable. Don't worry about it right now. We're going to actually continue on to the next line, line 27, which is the beginning of a while loop. So we're going to say while true, and we're going to be using essentially a try method for this. We're going to say try, and we're going to use request.get, and we're going to pass in self.data of self.chosen, well, key term of self.chosen at index 0. So let's just digest this real quick. Of index of the dictionary self.data, we're going to be calling the key term of self.chosen market. Now, if you remember correctly, self.chosen market is a user specified variable. That is why in Islander stocks, it was so crucial for the user to enter the specific market they want to be having access to, is because we're going to be using that to call that specific key terms list, which is what we're doing right here by calling index 0, which is associated with the download link. All right, so this is really what this while loop is going to be used for, is just to make sure that we are connected to the network. Because in order for us to be able to even get this folder or this CSV file, we have to be connected to the internet. And not only that, we have to be connected to the internet to be able to get the market prices for all of these stocks. All right, so that's what we're really doing here, is by helping us, is really what we're doing here is making sure that there's going to be no headaches later on. All right, and if this file does come out with no errors, we're going to break out this while loop. If by some chance there is an error of request.connection error, we're going to be going on to line 32. We're going to say if count equals 0. So this count on line 26, it's going to be playing a factor on line 32. If it is 0, it's going to be print please connect to the Wi-Fi, and then we're going to say count plus equals 1. Really what this is for is so that we're not seeing please connect to the Wi-Fi a gazillion times until we connect to to the Wi-Fi breaking out of this while loop. Once we get out of this while loop, that's when the Selenium starts playing effect, where we're going to say driver equals WebDriver. Since I'm using Google Chrome, from WebDriver, I have to call the Chrome module with a capital C, and then I have to pass in the file location of my Chrome driver. All right, and then once we have this all defined, we're going to say driver.get, and it's going to be the same file. It's going to be the same call as what's going on in the request.get, except we're using Selenium to open a web browser, and then passing in the self.data at key term self.chosen market at index 0 website link. All right, and once that's done, we're going to give it 0.2 seconds just to really let the download sink in before it continues on to the next section. All right, and the next section is not going to go to the delete method, but that's the next method that's defined in this class, so we're going to just talk about that. So really what I want in this module is I want to be able to download, then take that download CSV file, import it into a variable, define it to a variable, and then delete that CSV file to save memory on my system. All right, because I'm already storing it on a Google Drive, might as well just not have this thing in several different places. Just have it one place, download it when I need it, delete it when I don't, and then really in order to delete it, I have to have the file location of that specific file. And since I have the file location already said right here for the NASDAQ, it's going to be this one. So all you have to do is os.remove path equals self.data of key term chosen market at index 1. All right, and then after that is we're going to talk about the method. Well, the next method, which is going to be the symbols method. And really the symbols method is really similar to last video, except it's cut down a little bit shorter. We're just going to say stocks equals pd read csv, and we're going to be passing in the same file location as what we're passing into the delete by just saying self.data at key term self.chosen market at index 1. And once we have all that, we're going to return the stock.ilog, and we're going to be able to have a software that looks a lot like what we got going on this terminal right now. Now I'm going to do really 3 options. One option is going to be me choosing something that's not one of the predefined markets, like what, and it's just going to say please choose from the following. Now I'm just going to type in NASDAQ in all caps, NASDAQ. Now what you all have to keep in mind is when you're using Selenium, it is going to open your designated web browser. Now since I am having about 3 monitors running right now, it will pop up on any one of the 3. All right, so it's not going to exactly pop up when I hit enter right now, but I want all of you to just know that when you do run Selenium, it is going to bring up a web browser. That's perfectly fine. And then we're going to hit enter, and one of the screens is going to get that web browser. This one right here, sorry, it's not the one that we're looking at, but there you all can see that we were able to get the symbols from that specific CSV file, as well as it was able to delete that file. Now another thing I want to show all of you is I'm just going to run the file again. Because we use the dot upper, we can do something like N, capital N, Y, capital S, lowercase e, and then hit enter, and it's still going to be a valid option because we did the dot upper method. Therefore all those strings or those characters are going to get converted to capital characters. And as you all can see, we got exactly what we wanted. That's all for today's video. Honestly, if you have any questions, please go right ahead and leave it down in the comment section down below. All the links and code will be down in the description bar down below as well. And honestly, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I had so much fun making and preparing this video for all of you. If you enjoyed today's video, please go right on ahead and hit that like button as well. This is the second video of the stock analyzer tool, so if you really found this stuff interesting, I highly suggest hitting that subscription button because there's going to be more content on this topic in the coming weeks. All right, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.